Hello, welcome to Croft House. In this video I'm going to show you how to repair an over-tacked, worn out piece of wood with traditional handmade filler. It's a little more time consuming than just using commercial filler, but I find it rewarding, and the only cost is a little wood glue, which you may well already have. This little piano stool has had several recovers, and that means more tacks and more decorative nails all being hammered in, which over time, with each recover, just further degrades the wood. Now I prefer to use staples. It's not traditional, but I just find them much kinder to the wood. Less holes, and you're not bashing. Every tack or nail that goes in is a bash on the wood with a hammer. But really traditional upholstery requires tacks. The first thing to do is to remove any loose tacks. Now I use a tack lifter or a pair of pliers, and if you really can't get them out, then knock them in. But the more you get out, the less chance you have of hammering in your next tack on top of another one. I then go around and glue back any loose bits that have come off, and I use Gorilla Glue. It's a really good tough glue. And then just go around and brush off any loose bits, any bits of dust, so that you've got a really good base for your filler. A quick tip, I use weights if a bit's broken off the top and I can get them into place. Otherwise, a crepe bandage, sort of tourniquet around a broken piece, if you can get it around and into place, works really well too. Okay, so let's now make some traditional filler. So the first thing we'll do is take a look at the ingredients. First of all, 2 tablespoons of fine sawdust. Now you can get this from any carpenter. Just take a carton along and I'm quite sure you won't have to pay for it. And we use 4 tablespoons of water. And mix that together, mix it really well, and then we just leave that alone for a few minutes just so it really can mix in well. Okay, the next thing we do is take a piece of cotton cloth. I've used this before, that's why it's a funny colour. This is just a piece of old curtain lining fabric, and I've wet it. I find it a bit easier to use if it's wet first. And then once you're happy your sawdust is well mixed and soaked, we just pour that into the cloth. Make sure you get as much water as you can out of that bowl because it's going to go back. Okay, and then you squeeze out as much water as you can. Really give it a good tight wringing. You get as much water as possible. When you're happy, you've got as much out as you possibly can. It still keeps dripping. You're going to put it back. Drippy bits around here. Okay, so that's a nice. Looks like putty already, except it's pretty crumbly. Whoa, okay, as much of that as you can. Back in the bowl. And then we're going to put the glue in it. So make sure you have an old spoon for this. And I got the Gorilla Glue. And for the ratio of 2 tablespoons of sawdust, 4 of water, I'm going to use a generous teaspoon of the wood glue, so sort of 1 to 1.5 almost. Mix that in with it. And you're actually going to use your hands once you've got that in. You don't want to be over sticking, and as much as you can in with the spoon. Sorry. Okay, so we'll mix that in as much as we can with the spoon, and then just use your hands because it's the best way. So this is quite mucky and messy, and if you like trying new things, it's quite interesting to do it. So we need to get that really mixed in well. Okay, so we're just mixing that all really well together so it becomes a much stickier, gluier putty before we get it in the chair. And once you're happy, again, you've got that all mixed in well, then you can use it to put in the chair. Fill those cracks. So now it's time to fill it. So give everything a good brush, make sure you've got all the dust and dirt off everywhere, and you're really happy that you're happy that it's ready to fill. And then you just take a piece of your putty, and I find my fingers are better than any tool, and then just draw it along that edge so that it's going in. Push it, give it a rub, so you're getting that right in all the holes and the cracks. Okay, and do that right the way along. If it starts to go hard, which I don't think it would take a while before it goes hard, but if it did, then you just have to discard it and start again. But this stays, it's got some water in it, and the glue is moist, so it does stay open quite a long while. You need to level off this beveled edge, because on this one anyway, the fabric's going to come down to it. So I'm just using a screwdriver because that's what I've got at hand. Then I'm just going to do it with my nail. And if you find that there's not enough, then you'd have to come back and do it again. But it dries really firmly, so I think you'd be pretty much okay. Now let's just take a look at one I made earlier, just to show you. I just had the one ball, I put it back into the rag to make a hard ball. And then after day 1, I could crumble bits off it. After day 2, I could snap it. And now I'm on day 3, and it's really, really hard. I can't get my nail in that. I can't break it. If you've got a thick bit, it's possible the center is softer. So I would say minimum of 3 days wait. And now that it's in the stool, I'm just going to leave it for probably 4 days. Right, so 4 days and a haircut later. The filler, the putty that we made is quite firm. I can push my nail into that and it feels okay. And if I poke a nail into it, that also feels quite firm. So I'm happy that I can go ahead with that. Now you can give it a little sand if it feels rough, if you want to. It's not going to be seen as long as there's no real sharp bits poking out. But make sure to give everywhere a bit of a brush just to get all those loose bits off. Again, you're only nailing into it, but it's better.
The filler can be used for different projects and sanded smooth, but do experiment before you use it in a piece of furniture.
If you found this video useful, please subscribe to see other reupholstery and soft furnishing videos as I make them. Hit the like, hit the bell, and leave a comment. Good luck with your projects, and thanks for watching.